Hey guys, um, I'm praying that all is well, that everyone is safe. I'm going to start this video with a clip from Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democratic Congresswoman out of New York. I believe her district is in Brooklyn and part of Queens, not far from where I grew up from actually. Anybody that knows Miss Cortez or knows about Miss Cortez will take this whichever way, because if you know, you know. She ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. Um, so take it for what it's worth. But it's gonna tell about how she feels on whether the executive should abide by the rulings from the judicial, the Supreme Court in this case. After a case has been through the lower courts, then the appellate is the Supreme Court. So apparently here Biden has lost in the lower courts, the appellate, and now the Supreme Court, and Ms. Cortez here feels like it's okay, just ignore it, just go ahead and do it. Now imagine if somebody from the opposing party did that. How would Ms. Cortez feel then? But let's hear her and see what she has to say.
I believe that the Biden should ignore this ruling. I think that the courts have the legitimacy and they rely on the legitimacy of their rulings. And what they are currently doing is engaged in an unprecedented and dramatic erosion of the legitimacy of the courts.
Well, it is time for the Hot Topic Buzz, and that was New York Congresswoman Cortez pushing the Biden administration to disregard a...
Again, those that know Ms. Cortez probably ain't surprised at that, as she bent herself into pretzel, trying to explain how it's okay to bypass a ruling by the Supreme Court. Now, if Trump did that, what's crazy is what's happening right now, February 12th, 2025. The lower courts in Washington, D.C. have ruled against the administration from a filing by the Democratic Party, and a judge in their wisdom has stopped or threw in a wrench into the Constitution and made a ruling that's against the Constitution by telling Trump that he has to remove his people, the one that he appointed to run a department. The judge thinks they can't just simply say, hey, get your people out. That's not how it works. Not at all. Right? So just imagine if he said, you know what, I ain't gonna, especially not the lower court. I could see, and then yesterday, President Trump and Musk were in the Oval Office and they held a press conference. They answered questions. Somebody asked about following the decision that the lower court made. And guess what Trump said? He said, yeah. He said, I'm going to follow them. He said, I'm going to go about this the proper way. And that's at the lower court. When you buck the Supreme Court, and there ain't nothing else past the Supreme Court. And then you got Congress and the Senate to impeach. And on top of that, it broke earlier today that there's a congressman, can't remember from where he's from, that is gonna file articles of impeachment against one of those judges. That is gaining steam. Not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if a judge ends up in front of Congress within the next week or two, unless they pull back the rulings and they roll them back. Somebody might get pulled in front of Congress, because those judges, they're gonna learn one way or the other that you have to play fair. We're not asking for a favor. We're just asking to follow the rule of law. That's all. That is all. All right? And don't change, and don't try, well, you really can't change it. But don't try to change the rules in the middle of the game. Especially when you're not controlling the game. New York came up again, talking about 800,000 illegal immigrants, I believe, or something to that effect, to give them the right to vote. They say that it's only in the state vote. That still matters. That's still illegal. That is still illegal. And for the citizens of New York to go along with that, you're foolish. You're dumb. What you're setting up yourself up for is for in the future, your vote not to count. That's what you're doing by doing that. By you allowing that. If that keeps up, within a few years, the American in New York will be the minority. Be the minority. If not, they come. If not, those people come. Their parents probably only got here 15 years ago. Maybe 10 years ago. They ain't Americans like you and I. So your vote might not even really count, because you become what? Outnumbered. Like that Fox show. And you're looking around thinking, man, just a few years ago, I was looking at them from my window, selling the trinket socks and stuff on top of a blanket on the sidewalk. And now I'm looking up as I'm selling these items, and they're staring down at me from the window. A prime example of this. And this takes years to happen. This time around, because so many migrants came in, it's like, it's just happening fast. And now they want 800,000 to be put on the voting rolls on the state. Lebanon, one of the falls of Lebanon, they got overtaken, right, by Islam through their system, right? They slowly, Lebanon let them get, they accepted them. The refugees kept coming, having kids that are voting, and then they got one person, give an example, I don't know what it's called, but an example, made it to the House. They became a congressman, then two, then three, and then as the years passed, they gained the majority. And they didn't treat the people that were born there, that were there before them, with the same respect. All of a sudden, they take over, and the law of the land becomes the law of Islam. What was once a land where the Christians lived for hundreds of years, there were Christians there, got overrun through their own system, through the voting system, through Congress, through the Senate. That's not what it's called in that country. I'm just giving you an example. I'm just giving you an example. So with AOC, again, do you think it's fair if Trump does it? I don't think it is. And I don't think that they should have tried it. Anyway, guys, God bless and take care of yourself. Be safe.